This is a short story I made to introduce my character I created, the Winded Steelrunner. I wanted to write enough so you can get to know him a little bit. If you're familiar with Mistborn, you should know what's going on with the magic. If you're not, I hope I hinted enough so that you would get a vague idea of how it worked. The story takes place after the events of the Lost Metal, and just to be clear, this story has no meaning. It is meaningless, so don't go looking for lessons. I'd like to dedicate this story to my nieces and nephews for always inspiring me to be a better man. Part 1. Hunter's Perspective. Really, it's okay. We have Callum up here. He'll pull you up if it starts to fail. Oh, that's rich coming from you, Doug retorted. It's a process. You didn't get hurt. I made sure you wouldn't. The third try's the charm. Do you want to fly or not? Hunter said, pushing a dark brown curl off his spectacles back onto the top of his head. I'd prefer it if we could have a second Allomancer, maybe something more reliable than your 8-year-old nephew, Doug said, as he fidgeted with his hands. His eyes darted all around. He was clearly nervous. In a higher voice, near the edge of the building, piped in Hunter's nephew, Callum.
I'm 9, and I'm as strong as iron,
Callum retorted as he braced himself, double-checking that his harness was firmly attached to the chimney. He's all we have unless you're looking to pay for another Allomancer out of your own pocket. In order to fly, you gotta take a leap of faith. Just start running. At the last minute, start filling your metal mind as much as you can and jump, just like we talked about. I did the math on this correctly. I know I'm right. I double-checked every bolt and every rivet. It's all up to you now. Just a leap of faith to feel something you've always wanted to feel. Besides, even if you fall, when you're filling your iron mind, you don't weigh enough to actually hurt yourself. Doug sighed a hefty sigh, one that seemed to simultaneously say, how did I get myself into this position? And I've been waiting for this moment all my life. It was time for him to make a decision. The risk had to be worth the reward. Doug paced back and forth. It was clear he was settling some inner turmoil. Hunter watched as Doug paced. 2 flat-wide pieces of leather stretched out like bat wings in the shape of a T with a smaller tail on the back. Lastly, an adjustable rudder controlled by his feet once he gets them mounted. He listened to the buzz of a propeller on his back. Doug stood on the far edge of the building, swallowing and looking determined. It appears as though he has found his resolve. Hunter seemed to relax mentally, but prepared himself physically at that thought. Doug started. He ran as fast as he had for the previous 2 tests. As fast as someone could run with what felt like a table strapped to their back. Wait for my command, Callum. We need to see how this fails before we save him, Hunter ordered. Callum nodded. Doug ran, lifting his foot onto the ledge, heaving, jumping unusually high. He went up, up, up. This is the moment. Stall. He's going down. Doug descended nose first towards the ground. That angle was terrible. This one's his fault. I told him to jump out, not up. He set himself up for failure. Callum, you can... Nope. Wait. Give him a minute. As Hunter was saying this, Doug had hooked his feet into the back stirrup and extended his foot, causing the back fin to go up. Consequently, the nose lifted and Doug leveled out. Hunter's math was right. Doug had made himself light enough, and with the assistance of the propeller and the wings, he could really fly. He was doing it. Wind blowing through his hair, bile settling back down in his stomach. A yell of excitement coming from the young man. He can touch the sky. He can run his hands through the wind. He can dance with the mists like the coin shots can. It might not be the same, but he can touch the sky. Callum and his uncle erupted in a victorious celebration. After a few seconds, Callum got silent. He's a smart kid, and it was clear he was thinking about something. Curiosity in his voice as he posed the question.
How's he gonna land?
Good question, bud. Truthfully, I didn't talk to him about it because I was worried he'd get into his head again. You shouldn't worry about him. He's plenty capable. He's just got to get low to the ground, pull up with his feet, and stop filling his iron mind. It'll give him a soft landing. He may need to practice and need to run a little bit to land, but skimmers usually have a good intuition of gravity and the physics surrounding that. So I was confident that if I didn't tell him, he'd figure it out. Hunter said as he worked his fingers to undo the knots affixing Callum to the chimney. Speaking of figuring things out, did you ever solve that puzzle I handed you? Callum broke eye contact and looked to the ground while his voice petered out.
Well, I got the ring past the first piece of wood, but the rope stopped me from getting around the second and third.
Just keep trying. The only way to fail is to give up. It was Hunter's attempt at emboldening his nephew. Time will tell if his attempt was successful. As Hunter climbed down the ladder from the roof, from his peripherals he saw his nephew drop past him and softly jerk upward at the last second, gently landing on the ground. The 2 retreated into Hunter's workshop. Hunter moved a little slower than his nephew. He was always a little slower than the last person in the group, no matter who it was. Ducking as he entered the shop, it was like a second home to Hunter. It was where he spent most of his time. The room was laden with schematics, tools, and machines, along with piles of parts and assemblies lying all around. It had a smell of sawdust, metal dust, chalk, and oil. To the untrained eye, it was a room full of chaos. To Hunter, it was controlled, organized. He knew where everything was, and while he would prefer it to be better organized, he just didn't have the space to put everything, and a better organization system would take too much time to create and implement. More than it was worth right now. As he plopped down onto a swiveling stool, he reviewed one of his drawings. "You brought the roller shoes, right?" In an attempt at keeping the shoes longer, Callum started his argument.
Yeah, can I hold on to them? I think they need a little more testing.
"You can have them back when I'm done with them. I need to see if they show any signs of wearing down. I don't want a wheel to give out while you're using them. Could be dangerous. Besides, I may have an upgrade for you." Hunter watched as his nephew's eyes lit up with wonder. A glitter in his eyes. It was like Hunter could read Callum's internal dialogue.
What could be better than the shoes?
The shoes were Callum's best means of transportation. He would pull on distant metal and go rolling towards it. Hunter made them for him because Callum's father had forbidden him from lurching to the sky after the incident. He was grounded. For his own safety, he needed to be older and better trained if he was allowed to pull himself on top of Allendale's skyscrapers. Hunter put his hand out expectantly. "I made you the shoes so you could still get around quickly, horizontally and not vertically. I wanted to improve on that, so I made you this." It was a symbiotic relationship. Hunter got a little help testing things, and he got to spend time with his nephew, while his nephew got fun toys and a good life experience from his uncle. As Callum extended the shoes with many wheels attached to them, Hunter grabbed them from his nephew's hands and replaced them with a long, broad plank of wood. It had 4 large wheels on the underside of it, held on with some rollers and a few bolts. "I call it a roller plank. It might be a little harder to use than your roller shoes, but I think it's more convenient. You don't have to carry around a second pair of shoes for starters. This one you can just step on and off. Like with the shoes, you can pull on anything metal, and you'll roll right towards it. I think you can pull on the screws to keep your feet on it as well. I was thinking of having the wheels be omnidirectional, but the way I have it now, you should be able to steer as long as you're moving. Whereas with the other design, you would need to have something to pull you in the direction you would want to go. Make sense?"
I think so.
Was the most honest answer Callum could muster. Hunter always talked to him like an adult. He seemed to appreciate it. He always assumed it was because it made him feel grown up. Hunter could tell he struggled keeping up sometimes, so he always liked to double check his nephew understood what he was trying to communicate. Before Hunter let go, he replied, "Great. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me know if you need anything or have any suggestions. Also, please wear your helmet. Try not to hurt yourself. Your mom will kill me if you come home looking like you did after I gave you the shoes." At this point, Hunter was looking into his nephew's eyes.
I tried to tell her it's my fault.
Callum pleaded on behalf of his uncle. Hunter snapped, not angrily, but sternly. "I don't care, and neither should she. I gave them to you. Maybe I should wait for you to be older for this kind of stuff."
Please, no, Uncle Hunty. I'll be careful, I promise.
Callum interjected, his voice filled with worry. Hunter let a subtle smile escape his lips. He needed his nephew to understand how serious he was, and he was glad he understood. With a purposefully overdramatic, teasing sigh, he said, "Well, I can't not give it to you now." As he let go of the board, Hunter gave it one last quick inspection. At the same time, Callum gave the board his first inspection. The boy flicked the wheels, seeing how smoothly they spun and how much movement they would allow. As Hunter watched Callum turn, he followed Callum's eyes and could only worry as his eyes drifted towards the other side of the room. "Oh no, I didn't clean off my desk before he came. Please don't notice them." Hunter could only watch as his nephew's eyes caught on a schematic in front of Hunter's main desk. This spot was always reserved for the newest thing, his most active project, Uncle Hunter's latest infatuation. On the left side of the new schematic sat a yellow ribbon. "Rusts, I don't know which one he's focusing on,"
What's that?
blurted Callum as his eyes grew wide and he looked at Hunter's desk. Hunter sank. Hunter stopped filling his steel mind for once. He no longer felt like he was moving through molasses as he dashed in front of the desk. "What's what? It's nothing," as Hunter tried to block the sight of his entire desk with his body.
That drawing, what does it do?
Redirect, distract, buy a little time, was Hunter's internal plan he set before he spoke. "It helps me think and plan and build parts and assemblies." As he began rolling up the schematic, Hunter positioned his body between Callum and the ribbon. Hunter's hand blurred as he focused on the steel bracers on his arms. Hunter mentally tapped into his metal mind. Instead of putting his personal speed into it, he drew upon the vast wealth of speed he had been storing and seized some of it, allowing his body to move considerably faster than it normally did. He rarely ever tapped it. He was very, very stingy on tapping his steel mind. But this was an exception. Using a day's worth of speed just to avoid a conversation sounded like an easy trade to make. He tucked the soft and silky ribbon into his pocket at impossible speeds. Too fast for anybody to possibly notice. The ribbon was simply there, and then it was not. Luckily, of the two things Hunter didn't want his nephew to notice, Callum had decided to focus on the lesser evil.
Hunty, you know what I mean,
his nephew whined. Hunter slumped his shoulders, feigning defeat. Half excited that he got away with hiding the ribbon, half defeated that his nephew had found his other secret that he had failed to hide. Still, an overall win. Hunter had stayed up too late and let himself get too tired after working on Doug's glider. The consequences for his actions. I guess I was going to talk to you about it at some point anyway. Might as well be now. Don't get too excited. Right now it's theoretical, and I don't even know if I like it. There's no way to ensure that it even works, and it's not dangerous for you. As Hunter indicated it was for Callum, the boy's eyes lit up, as if to say,
another gadget? 2 in 1 day? This is amazing.
Hunter hated disappointing his nieces and nephews. As Hunter continued, you're finally going to be hitting double digits next month. Your parents agreed you could practice lifting yourself off the ground under strict and controlled circumstances. When you're done with that, I was thinking this will be sort of a birthday graduation gift for you. We know a problem lurchers have sometimes is that they don't always have something to pull on. So I made this. As Hunter unrolled the drawing, he pointed to it. It's a man-made coin shot. You mount it on your wrist, and it'll let you launch clips on top of buildings. Not nearly as hard as a real coin shot can, but this will hopefully let you get coins up and over ledges, enough for you to anchor and pull yourself upward. I'm sure you can find other uses for it, but this is its primary function I thought of. Hunter moved his hand toward the top part of the drawing. You load your clips in here, and then either with your other hand or iron, you pull on the back right here. That'll drop the coin into the chamber and load the coin shot. When you're ready to shoot, Hunter moved his hand toward the front of the mechanism. You pull this trigger back the same way, by either using your hand, or you can iron pull it. Just like that, the coin launches forward. I don't even know I can make it work, it's just a side project.
I know you can make it work, Uncle Hunty. You just made a main fly.
Callum objected, barely able to contain his excitement. Hunter got a slight smirk and seemed to sit a little taller at his nephew's confidence in him. He's an iron fairing. He was mostly there anyway. He just needed some propulsion. I'll see what I can do. The phrase, I'll see what I can do, is Hunter's attempt at skirting past making promises. He never knew if he could get something to work for sure, and he didn't want to ever accidentally lie or disappoint. His attempt at cutting down his nephew's expectations seemed to fall flat as the boy excitedly skipped out of the room. Hunter followed his nephew up the stairs, ducking to be sure he didn't crack his head on the shorter door frame at the top of the staircase. That's all I have for today. I'll let you know if I need your help with anything soon. Thanks for being willing to help with Doug. If you could swing over by Doug's house on your way home just to make sure he's fine, I'd appreciate it. If I don't hear anything, I'll either assume you crashed too, or neither of you did.
Yep, thank you, Hunty,
chirped the boy, only half paying attention to what his uncle had said. He was too excited to try this new board. Hunter watched as he brought it out to the pavement and set the wheels of the board on top of it. As he strapped his helmet on, he touched the hole in his ear, mumbled something under his breath, a habit he had formed before doing something intimidating. Part 2. Callum's Perspective. Callum crouched low and set his eyes further on the road, as he felt the familiar warmth igniting in his stomach, burning his iron. As per usual, multiple blue lines sprouted from his chest, a few lighter ones going down toward the board, one to the strap clipped by his chin, some to the coins in his pockets, more lines going to the nails and signs on the edge of the road ahead, and lastly to the lampposts over the road. He first started gentle and delicate, yet constant, pulling on the lines connecting the bolts in his board. While he set his eyes further down the road, excitement burning in his chest, he mentally pulled on the blue line connecting him to the sign he saw. This sent Callum and the board rolling toward one of the signs. Callum tested the steering, side to side, weaving in and out. As he grew more confident, he yanked even harder on the next sign. He was gaining speed. Callum pulled as hard as he could on the next sign. This was freedom. He wasn't flying through the air, but he was soaring down the road, his eyes starting to water from the speed, vision becoming blurry. A lot of lurchers or coin shots had a hard time being gentle with their pushes or pulls, only being able to do so at their hardest. For whatever reason, Callum didn't have this problem. He was able to gently pluck a blue cord without giving it full strength. On top of that, Callum was really good at understanding balance. Even Lady Air would be proud. Maybe the lessons of his soother father helped him understand balance and gentleness. Maybe that's why he excelled in these two areas. Wind whipping through his face. Callum hadn't remembered a time he could move this fast. The shoes were nice, but a bit wobbly, and they were hard to maintain at high speeds. This was more freeing. As he blinked to clear his vision, he hadn't even noticed the rock. In an instant, Callum's board stopped, sending Callum hurtling forward. By what can only be described as pure, harmony-blessed, lucky intuition, Callum pulled up on the lamppost above him. Well, now below him, seeing that he was currently upside down. His stomach lurched at coming to such a sudden stop, and then after that, another sudden stop, and everything went dark. Callum opened his eyes, royal blue fabric wrapping around him. He was held in his uncle's arms, close to his chest. He looked up. His uncle's face was red, not from tears or exhaustion.
Is Uncle sunburned?
He thought to himself. Nothing made sense. Callum was just flying, but now the world was spinning. Regardless of his confusion, the boy tried to force everything to make sense as he listened to his pounding heartbeat in his ears and the sound of a wheeze coming from his uncle's chest.
What do I know? What can I observe? Think!
Callum thought to himself. Callum never lost consciousness. He was right. He had remembered being over 100 yards away from his uncle. But Hunter was here now. How? Callum thought to himself.
I know Hunty can move fast sometimes, but I've never seen him do it. Could he really move this far, this fast?
Callum was correct. His uncle had closed the huge gap in the time it took Callum to go from standing upright to nearly breaking his own skull, despite the helmet. When Callum had pulled on the lamppost intuitively, he managed to slow himself down and was going to land instead of crash. He probably wouldn't have landed very softly, but it was definitely better than the alternative. More than what Callum could manage, it was even better to land in his uncle's arms than on the pavement. Callum was afraid of what had just transpired, afraid his uncle would be upset with him for going overboard again. Hunter stifled a fury inside his chest, not from anger, but from fear of harm coming to his nephew. Hey, you okay, bud? He tried to put on a comforting smile through his physical wheeze and over his internal turmoil. On top of his fear, Hunter was also upset with himself for enabling his sloth to allow his impairment to return.
I think so.
The boy could barely let out, with blurry vision from tears welling in his eyes. So many emotions. Hunter wheezed as he breathed, and he struggled to speak. The wheeze was clearly debilitating. It sounded like his airways were constricted to the point where he had to breathe through a straw. Listen to my breath as I teach you this lesson. Hear the wheeze. My body fights me when I overexert myself. If I run too hard, I could die. Yet I have been blessed with the metal that allows me to run faster than any man has a right to. He had to work, to fight to suck in breath. When I was little, my ailment was worse. I could barely run 10 yards without risking suffocating from the inside. He wheezed, taking a moment and slowing his breath, forcing his body to calm down, giving a slight cough, taking another deep, slow breath. In slowing his breath, he found a bit of relief from his torment. He took one more deep breath in before he continued. I didn't let this ailment stop me, though. I was determined to utilize my blessing, knowing that if I overdid it, I would risk dying. Sound familiar? He asked rhetorically. As he did, he paused and looked into Callum's dark brown eyes. He was looking for something. He wanted to make sure Callum was taking this in. Callum gave the most subtle head movements in affirmation. Uncle continued. I wasn't always able to run like I just did. I think that's the furthest and fastest I've ever run. A younger me would have died, but as I grew, I improved. It didn't happen overnight. It took time and practice. I failed a lot, until I didn't anymore. I struggle to breathe now because I have been lazy. I've been completely free before. Trust me when I say that life gets better. You will get better. Life is fragile, and you are more priceless than you can imagine. You don't need to rush yourself to freedom. Slow and steady discipline will lead you to your freedom. Build your strength and your skill. Okay? As he said this, he lifted the boy to his feet and gently set him down, intently watching Callum's face. The boy thought it was silly he was ever worried about the man's fury in the first place.
Yes, Uncle Hunty.
Callum said in a low, quiet voice while looking at his uncle. The lesson started to soak in. The man towered over him, not with an intimidating stature, but in a sense that made Callum feel loved, safe, and protected. As the man stepped aside, he pointed at the lamppost. It wasn't me that saved you. Honestly, you were probably going to save yourself. Look how fast you were going. These lampposts are made to be pushed on by full-grown allomancers, and you, young man, managed to bend one. Ever so slightly, but it's there. You caught yourself, but you scared me enough to use up more speed than I've used in the last 3 years combined. These bracers are completely empty. Don't feel bad. I need the reminder to exercise, and you're priceless. Worth way more than a little exercise anyway. As he said that, he winked, and Callum smiled. Head on home. Slower this time. Feel free to keep this between you, me, and this lamppost. I've got to get ready for tonight. Love you, bud, Hunter exclaimed as he turned and started slowly jogging towards his home. To be continued?